Hey guys, how are you doing? Scarlett here. I hope everyone's doing well today. So we are coming on towards the end of the month, so I thought I would do another monthly favorites video. And for all of my returning subscribers, welcome back, and for anyone new, welcome. I post weekly videos about tarot, paganism, and magic. So if those are topics you are curious about, do please consider hitting that subscribe button below. So let's jump right into it, and I have a few different categories for this month's favorites. I'm going to start with the category of tarot. So the deck that I've been really enjoying working with lately is the Fountain Tarot. And this is a deck that I didn't necessarily get recently. I've had it for a while, but I've been picking it up more and more lately. And I've really enjoyed working with it. And part of me wonders if it's that summer vibe, but this deck translates really well to that kind of summery feeling. The imagery is kind of like watercolor based. Here, I'll zoom in. So you can see that it's very bright, it's kind of cheerful. Even the dark cards, like the Eight of Cups, seem a bit brighter, a bit easier, easygoing. And so I've been really enjoying working with this deck and trying out some new tarot spreads. So I'd love to hear from you guys too. Do you find that the decks you turn to vary based on the seasons? I'm definitely that kind of person where I tend to use certain decks more during the summer, certain decks more during fall and winter and spring. So I'd love to hear if that's just me or if you guys do that too. So anyway, I just wanted to give a shout out for this deck because I'm really enjoying it. It's stunning, it's beautiful, love the designs, and it still retains a lot of that good Rider-Waite symbolism. So if you learned on the Rider-Waite deck, you should be able to read with this deck fairly easily. So that is one of my favorites. Another favorite actually comes from a fan of my podcast that I met up with recently when she was in town. So her name's Courtney, and she came up with this really cute idea for tracking your tarot readings. These are little kind of post-it note notepads called tarot takeaways. And it just gives you a way to keep track of your tarot readings. So for example, if you're doing a 3-card reading, you can afterwards write down the card you got, the key takeaway from that card, you know, for each of the cards, so that you can kind of keep track of your readings. And for someone like me who does a lot of readings, I think this could be a fun thing to put in my tarot journal. And also it could be cute for when I go to events and do a lot of readings, to give someone a little post-it note like this with their cards and those key takeaways from the reading, so they can slip that into their purse or their wallet and keep it with them, so they can always remember what cards they got during the reading and what those cards represented. So I'll put a link to her new Instagram for tarot takeaways in the description box down below, so you can check that out if you are a little over-organized like I am about my tarot readings. I love the organization component, so I'm a big fan of that. And so next I wanted to move on to a few kind of writings and readings for the next section of my favorites video. And the first thing is a book that I finished this month, which is The Mysteries of Mitras. And this is a book about a very mysterious deity, and this deity was popular in ancient Rome, especially among the Roman soldiers. In fact, a lot of contemporary Catholic churches in Rome are built atop Mithraeums, which were sacred sites dedicated to this deity. There's also a case to be made that this deity comes from even older, from the Persian Mitra. And the author does make that case that there is a continuous line between the Persian deity of Mitra to the Roman deity of Mitras. It's pronounced sometimes Mithras and Mitras. You'll see it kind of both ways. Let me know if you do know the correct pronunciation on that. But this is an interesting book because I've been delving deeper into pagan Reconstructionism. So this book provides the history of the deity Mitras, and then also how you can take the traditions associated with this deity, because it was this really interesting 7-part initiation process and system, and kind of like almost like a secret society connected with Mithras. So how you could take that system and perform a contemporary version of that initiation if you would like to. So really need to kind of both get the history of this mysterious deity, but then also get some information on how you could recreate this kind of sacred initiatory system in the modern day. So I would recommend checking out this book if you are a fan of the Roman gods or goddesses, or even the Persian gods and goddesses, and wanted to learn a bit more about Mithras. Another thing that I read this month that I found really fascinating was a blog post from Scarlet Imprint. And Scarlet Imprint is a publisher that specializes in occult books. And the blog post I read was titled Rewilding Witchcraft. And I'll post a link down in the description below so you can check it out. And it's a really interesting case to be made that the author Peter Gray makes about the fact that with paganism and witchcraft, what have we sacrificed in order to make it more mainstream? How can we interpret the idea of rewilding it, taking it back to nature, embracing the outsider component to witchcraft and even paganism as a whole? So it's really interesting in a time that people are speaking about living room paganism or fluffy witchcraft. I'm not gonna, make a statement either way on that debate here. But it is a great article. I did enjoy reading it, and it does provide a lot of context on some of the thornier issues when it comes to witchcraft, and should it be socially acceptable? Should it always be that outsider path? And what we sacrifice when we try and become mainstream. So really fascinating. Give that article a read. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it in the comments down below. And if it is something that you're interested in debating and discussing more, let me know. The other thing that I wanted to mention is a new blog that I discovered called Tavlova Mediterranea. And this is a blog that has a section titled Edible Archaeology. So I mentioned I've been getting into pagan reconstructionism recently, and this focuses predominantly on ancient Roman cooking and recipes, but does also have some Greek and Egyptian stuff there too. And what she does is she looks at the ancient recipes and recreates them so that you can make them at home. And there are some recipes in there that could be tied to a spiritual or religious practice. So you could make a offering cake based on an ancient Roman recipe. So I mean, how cool is that? Or at least I think that's pretty cool. So I've been dying to try out one of these ancient Roman recipes for like an offering cake. Let me know if that's something you're interested in. Maybe I'll make like a pagan reconstruction cooking video or something like that. So I'll link that blog down below, because I am both a big fan of cooking as well as spirituality and paganism. So it's kind of combining some of my favorite things in one. So that is some great stuff to check out this month, and I'll of course, like I said, link everything down in the description. And the last two things I wanted to show you were some stuff that I picked up when I was on in Scandinavia and the Baltic last month. So two things that I picked up. One was this handmade leather container cylinder with runic symbols on it. And one of the toughest things for me whenever I travel is trying to find souvenirs or things to take back that aren't the kind of mass market stuff. And I was lucky to find a little artist's street kind of hidden in Tallinn, which is the capital of Estonia. And there I found a tiny little leather workshop which had this piece right here with the runes carved. And I think the intention was for this to kind of be like a koozie or something like that, something to put a drink in. But I've decided it's gonna be my new rune bag. So I have my runes in here, and instead of a bag, I'm just gonna shake it up like that and then pull my runes from here. So I think it's a great kind of object that I can use to hold my runes, and it's extra special because it came from an artisan in Estonia. And the last item I wanted to show you is something I picked up in Russia. And this is interesting because obviously I'm not Christian, but I've always had a fascination with Russian religious icons. So I picked up an icon at a cathedral that I visited in St. Petersburg because this one specifically I really connected with. I'll zoom in on it here. So here you have Mother Mary, but it's very high priestess-like. You have that crescent moon at the bottom. You have the sun behind her even, and that kind of dark starry sky with the crown. It just seemed very like Mother Mary as portrayed as a priestess. I don't know, I kind of just felt that vibe. Of course, that might be a bit sacrilegious of me, but I've never been opposed to people that incorporate Christian iconography into their pagan practice. I mean, there's a debate there, and this is probably the only Christian item that I have, but it was really meaningful to me. Russian icons are fascinating for anyone who studies art history. They're meant to be this direct connection to the divine. And this Mother Mary just really resonated with me. So I picked this up and I have it on my bookshelf, and I think it's really beautiful and very special to me. So just wanted to share that with you guys. And yeah, so that is my monthly favorites. I know I probably talked a mile a minute. I'm trying to keep my videos short and sweet for you guys. And I'd love to know your thoughts, especially check out that blog post about Rewilding Witchcraft by Scarlet Imprint. I'm really curious to hear your thoughts and ideas on that. So I will see you next week. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.